Good afternoon. Testing. Testing. Good afternoon, everyone. Okay, testing. We're working now. There's a little delay on the microphone. Good afternoon. Thank you guys so much for coming today. We have an amazing reuse of a facility, and you're getting to see the new shiny look for a really great service that's in our Panhandle region. And my name is Corrine Donahue. I work for Olson, but I'm the project manager for the NDOT Mobility Management team. Really proud to be here today. We have several great providers that are in this region. As you know, Johnny Cusack runs the Open Plains Transit, our new name. I'm still used to Panhandle Trails, so our new service. But again, it's wonderful to be here. We, we're blessed with a beautiful afternoon. We don't have a snowstorm. We are on a Thursday and a Wednesday, which it seems those were our lucky snow days over the last winter, as you guys know. On the screen, you guys will see Tara from the university. She's one of our partners to help Johnny and many of the other transit agencies with planning and transit work. Hello, Tara. Is she on mute? Yes, there you go. And then Carrie Roos is going to say a few words in just a few seconds. Carrie oversees all of our transit agencies in Nebraska. She's an avid supporter, and we couldn't do it without her. With that, Carrie, you are on. We'll check your volume.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah. Sound great.
Yes.
Okay. Thanks everyone for inviting me. Sorry, it's a virtual meeting this time. I'm sure I'll see the new facility at some point in time. And congratulations to Johnny and her team for another great milestone in the Panhandle. There are just so many great things happening in the Panhandle region in terms of transit and economic development. And here at NDOT, we're just very proud to be able to support the providers and support projects like this, and hope it just continues to grow and grow. So have a great open house. And again, thanks for inviting me.
Thanks, Carrie.
All right, and Johnny, our transit manager, wants to say a few words. I'll give you the microphone. Thanks.
Good afternoon. Are we on? There's the slight delay. Okay, good afternoon, everybody, and thank you all so much for being here. We certainly appreciate it. As Carrie said, this is one more milestone that we have met, and we still have more on our list. And so we have a lot of goals, but everything's always a work in progress and always subject to change. I know that there's some of you that are familiar with us, but in case you're not, we actually are a division of Senior Services Incorporated, which is a 501c3 nonprofit organization based here in Alliance. They were actually organized in 1968. We began many of the services in Boxview County, such as raising funds to begin and expand the current senior center in partnership with the City of Alliance, partnering with the Aging Office of Western Nebraska for the nutrition program, beginning and overseeing programs such as the RSVP and the Handyman program, and beginning public transit services in 1974 for Boxview County. What began really as transportation services for senior citizens only has evolved several times. And as Carrie said, we have a lot of milestones. And so we're hoping to see evolution just keep happening as we go through the decades. And through those decades, we've been able to provide public transit services to the general public of all ages, accessible transportation for those with various levels of mobility needs. We've expanded to provide intercity bus services throughout the Nebraska Panhandle, including routes to Pine Ridge, South Dakota, and soon to Rapid City, South Dakota. We offer demand response services to over 34 Nebraska communities, soon to be over 50 Nebraska communities. And so, we are really ready to celebrate that. But really one of our goals is to empower passengers to reach our intercity bus stops, addressing first mile, last mile gaps in service, to really reach our rural Boxview County residents, to reach other county communities, and services throughout Sheridan County and now in Valentine, Nebraska. July 1st, we are looking at expanding that program all the way through Cherry County. So when we think about Cherry County, maybe we didn't think about it so much, but it's 6,000 square miles, or as some people will remind us, it is larger than the state of Connecticut or Rhode Island and New Hampshire put together. Probably a good thing that they didn't tell me that last fall before I signed on the dotted line. We believe in offering services that assist in leveling the mobility field, to be inclusive to all, to support diversity in the communities that we serve, to be accessible to all. Those are really the goals that we strive for. We believe in the vitality of communities in stimulating economic development. We believe that access to healthcare should be a right, that we can assist in eliminating the barriers to the social determinants of health. People should be able to have access to food, and that means healthy foods. We believe that life should not revolve around transportation, but that transportation services should revolve around people's lives. We believe that all these things are possible through the use of public transportation. As some of you know, we started with a soft start in Valentine, the latter part of November. Winter has definitely been a challenge out here in Western Nebraska, as all of you are aware. That project is really just going gangbusters, and so we're really excited. I have put in a request for a helicopter to NDOT, but I don't believe that that's probably going to be approved. But every mile is definitely there, and it is our pleasure to be able to drive them all. Sometimes we just like spring and summer a little bit better than winter. So I think one thing that we really try to do is realize the needs of our communities, and that we want to have some level of service in all of our panhandle communities. So if you get a chance, please fill out the surveys. You know, we can put together intercity bus routes, we can put together services, but if it's not what people need, it's all for naught. There's a lot of people that we really need to thank, and the list is pretty long, so please be a little patient with me. We know that all this couldn't be possible without the foresight, commitment, and financial support of the following: the Federal Transportation Administration, Region 7, Carrie Roos and her NDOT team, NDOT Mobility Manager, Bill Bevan and his team, which you'll hear from Bill here shortly. Okay, on to page 47. Olson and Associates and team, you guys have met Corinne. She has a wonderful team. Hannah's on the team. Katie was up front. They assist us with a lot of technology and technical assistance projects across the state, and they assist all of our rural transit systems. So they are really a blessing to have. We'd like to thank the Sheridan County Commissioners, Sheridan County, Nebraska. I see Bruce has just joined us. We'll hear from him in a bit. And also the communities of Gordon, Rushville, and Hay Springs in Sheridan County. We'd like to thank Box Butte General Hospital. You'll be hearing from Jordan Caldwell from BVGH, Gordon Memorial Hospital, Shadron Community Hospital, community advocates and supporters, our local media. We could not do this with our local media. When I say local media, I mean all the media like across the whole state. You know, in South Dakota, Colorado, Wyoming, sometimes they get our stuff too. But really KCOW Radio and Eagle Communications, KNEB News, TV and Radio, Shadrach Communications, the Alliance Times Herald, Scottsbluff Star Herald, Hemingford Ledger, Sheridan County Journal Star, and Valentine Midland News. And there's just more. Boy, the list just goes on. I really would like to acknowledge and thank our local transit team, Joshua Hansen. He's our operations supervisor. Arlen Lautzenheiser. See Arlen? Arlen is our lead driver, and she is just a gem. We are very thankful for her. Sarah Jeffers isn't able to be here with us, but she is one of our early morning dialysis drivers. So Sarah and I, we don't chit chat a whole lot at 3 a.m., but we are in communication. Lamonte Pyle, where you at? Lamonte's kind of new to our team, and we are blessed to have him. Troy Strang is actually on the road right now, getting passengers up to Pine Ridge Job Corps from Ogallala. Michelle Haynes is not with us, I don't believe today, but she's one of our drivers out of Shadron. And then we have our Valentine team, Mark Stoker, Kent Lopez, and Sammy Burnt. We could not do it without those great people up in Valentine and Cherry County. And I would really be remiss if I didn't thank my board of directors, and sometimes I get a little emotional, so please bear with me. Just the great support. And I think really their mutual quest to want to help other people and to do what they can do in their counties, to help the people in their counties, to help the people throughout this whole region. I don't know, maybe they're just my kind of crazy, and thinking that we can produce change, and we can produce that change in people's lives through the use of public transportation. I'd like to really thank my board president, Donald Smith. Please raise your hand up, all that good stuff. Don has worked tirelessly for almost 15 years on this board of directors. He gives a lot of time, picks us up when we fall down, buys us tacos, sometimes some DQ. So, you know, we're happy. He's a great president. And then also I know that Cheryl Johnson. Cheryl, please raise your hand. Cheryl has just been phenomenal with just trying to be our support system, helping us fundraise, helping us get our depot together, putting up with me being a little grouchy because my foot hurt yesterday and all that good stuff. Thank you, Cheryl. She's phenomenal. She's always willing to help whenever we need help. I also would like to acknowledge Bruce Messersmith, who's with Sheridan County Commissioners. Bruce is here, and he's fairly new to our board, but Sheridan County Commissioners have just been a great support system. Ever since we brought that transit system under our umbrella, we've been able to work with James Crows. We've been able to work with Bruce directly on our board. And you want to talk about a great board of commissioners. Sheridan County, I think, just has it right. They always put their people first. You know, and then sometimes I think try to figure out how to pay for it. But you know what? You guys are just really supportive of your people. It may be a little bit my kind of crazy too. So I don't know. They're just, we really appreciate you guys in Sheridan County. And then Ramona Vallejo, she's had quite a few health problems. She's been on our board for about 4 or 5 years, so she wasn't able to make it today. And then I would also like to thank all the great citizens in the Nebraska Panhandle region, all the communities that we serve, all the people that help us get the word out, that support us, just one-on-one. That's how we've done it. And we always try to just do it right. And so if there are things that we can do to help you, if there's places that you need to go that we don't know about, if there's times that you need to be there because maybe our route schedules aren't making or meeting that need for you, just give me a call. Let's have that conversation. If you need help with assistance and transportation for your clients, please, I am always willing to come to your table and let's have that discussion. So I just want to thank also, I know that I have some great transit associates here. I have Christy Werner and Dave from Kimball County Transit. We have Kurt Richter from Scotts Bluff, Tri-City Roadrunner. So you're just really awesome. Thank you for coming. I know that Charles McGraw from Ride Transit sent us flowers today. He is the transit director for Kearney, Nebraska. So we really have a great network of transit associates across the state that I think that we just feel that we can pick up the phone, call each other, pick each other's brain, or sometimes we just need a little bit of moral support. So, you know, I think we're just always there for each other. And I love working with the people that I work with in the Panhandle. Sometimes if we're not able to provide the ride, they might be able to get someone to where they need to go and vice versa. So I really appreciate the working relationship that we have out here. But you know, our economic development people, I know Deb's here, I know Chelsea's here. We appreciate you because transportation does play a big part when it comes into economic development for our counties, for our cities. Mara is here from Alliance City Council, so you'll be hearing from some of these folks as well. But then once again, thank you all for being here, for supporting us. Feel free to give me a call anytime. With that, page 48, we're done.
She lied, 90 pages. No, I'm just kidding, just kidding. Johnny had a brief introduction of Christy Warner, who is the transit manager out of Kimball County, just a bit of ways. Christy, could you come up and talk to our crowd, talk about working with Johnny and Open Plains Transit and all the great things that's happening in your world?
Well, thank you for letting us come up. We hate to steal anybody's spotlight, and I have to start out with the story because really that's part of why I'm here. So at my very first managers meeting, I met Johnny and I told her, I said, when I grow up, I want to be like you. She is doing it right. She absolutely is doing it for the right reasons and has the heart and the passion to put the people first. And that's my kind of crazy. So, and I was new. I had never done anything in transit. And so I have called her and looked to her, and I many times have thought, well, what would Johnny do? I don't know that she always would do everything I do, but
Crazier than I am.
well, we try not to let that out of the box too often. But it's a great opportunity. I am so excited to have been able to work with Johnny and the new open planes, and to get to see them evolve and grow and understand what transit really can do. And we're working very hard to coordinate rides with them. The first time she called me and said, you know, we have this patient or this rider who's now in a hospital down in the, you know, Colorado area. And can you pick him up and meet us in Scotts Bluff? And it's like, absolutely. This is what we do. And so we're excited we've actually started to actually plan it out and make those phone calls. And here soon, we'll be actually meeting up with them on a daily basis that they're at the stops and coordinating that through Scotts Bluff with Tri-City Roadrunner. And at the end of the day, we want every last person to get where they're going. And if we can work with Johnny and her staff and the other transits to make that happen, you know, it's just a much better place in the Panhandle, and we love to get those people where they're going. So I just want to thank Johnny and her crew for an amazing job and being mentors in the transit world, especially out here in the Panhandle, because it is still way more rural than other rural transits, and it has its unique opportunities, and we're just blessed to have her as part of the transit team. So thank you guys, and we'll enjoy seeing you out on the road.
Sounds good.
Don't leave until the ribbon cutting. Our Sheridan County Commissioner, you are next speaker to this afternoon. Bruce, would you please come forward? You could share a story too. Christy started the cards on the table. Do you have any good ones to share?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, you said. There you go, sir. Thank you.
Okay, I'm really sorry I didn't respond to your last email.
That's it. Most of you don't have quite as gray a hair as I do. Probably don't remember when Joni's parents moved to town. I remember when she was about 12. I remember when she was that when you moved here? Yeah. Okay. She right off the bat started taking orders, and she was making change by the time she was 13, and she hasn't slowed down again. I've been pretty honored to have her acquaintance most of her life and a part of mine. So I was glad that my fellow county commissioner figured that it was easier for me to come to meetings from 20 miles outside of town than it was for him to drive down from Rushville and get on the board. Our previous Sheridan County transport people had a change of plans and backed out, and I'm not sure how James got a hold of Johnny, but or maybe Johnny got a hold of James, but anyway, they got started, and our ridership has boomed in the year and a half, 2 years that we've been together. I do remember, I have a friend in Ellsworth who's had a lot of health problems and got to the point where he can't get into or out of a car by himself. And when the previous transit quit, they were stuck. And his wife called me and said, can you do something? And that's how we got started. Ridership is great. I just amazed at the job that she's doing promoting open trails clear across the Panhandle and working with the people from other end of the Panhandle or the state trying to get things opened up. And somehow appears that one of my stepsons is county commissioner in Cherry County, and so we had a little extra push to get that started. I'm just amazed at the job she's doing and the job that all her help is doing, and other people on the board. And it's just I just came from a Region 1 Developmental Health Board meeting this morning. That's one of the things they don't tell you when they ask you to run for county commissioner is about the extra boards that you get to sit on. So I get to go to Scotts Bluff. Well, once a month for a day, and here for a couple hours, and I'm just happy to be a part.
It's an honor to have our county commissioners across the state of Nebraska recognize the need for public transportation. And just like Bruce said, sometimes you don't recognize that need until you know someone that's stuck, as you said perfectly. And that's okay. You know, that's okay. That's why we're here. That's why you guys are here. And we make a difference, you know, across the state. Let's see, Jordan from Box Butte General Hospital. Let me make sure I have the right name. Would you come up and say a few words, sir? Thank you. On our spotty microphone. Yes.
Well, at a previous employer, Johnny and I met several years ago to get this going, and now to see the routes and how it's boomed is just amazing. One thing I want to note on behalf of the hospital, we couldn't take care of our patients without these folks. They talked about how they connect patients with different transits. I mean, they're also our social workers behind the scenes because we have a lot of maneuvering. We have a lot of patients that need cancer treatment outside of our area. And then our early morning risers of our dialysis patients. We have a lot of those patients that would never get the treatment if they didn't have the transportation. So that's huge to us at Box Butte. We're very, very excited to see how it continues to grow and continue to partner with you in the future.
Thank you, Jordan.
Yeah, thank you. Partnership. I couldn't have said it better, Jordan. Absolutely. Ms. Jessica, would you like to come forward from our Panhandle Public Health District? Another key partner in this Panhandle region and connecting people to resources.
Thank you. I normally put a lot of dad jokes in my presentations, so that's very nice today. But I was feeling the pressure when Johnny said slide deck, so I put together some slides, so I won't try to bore you, but I do have our annual reports as well that we'll pass around. We actually, you may remember receiving this, we send it to every household in the area. Our jurisdiction is the 12 counties, so it's, if you go to that next slide, we have the 12, so 11 in the Panhandle plus Grant County. So of course, much of the overlay of what Open Plains has. Of course, that's 87,000 residents and roughly 15,000 square miles. And I appreciate Johnny's state comparison because we always say the size of Massachusetts and Connecticut combined. And of course, we have about a 50-50 split as far as males and females, and then a minority population that continues to grow. On that next slide, one of the things that Johnny had mentioned was the social determinants of health. And so we know that our environments shape our health in addition to social and economic factors, physical environment, individual health, and of course, healthcare. our built environment and things like that are heavily influence how our health is impacted. And if you go to that next slide, we have our community health improvement plan. This is our 21 to 23 iteration. We do a regional assessment, which involves several thousand community health surveys. We do hundreds of focus groups and interviews because we want to know what is it that really is impacting the residents that we serve. And we do that actually in coordination with all of the hospitals. So every hospital, we have a regional plan, and then they pick their priorities based on that plan for their own specific hospital. So on that next one is actually Box Beach General Hospital's priority areas. And just like Jordan had mentioned, transportation I've worked for the health department almost 20 years, and that's always been mentioned, very heavily mentioned in many iterations of that, many cycles of that. And where it lies in the hospitals, one is specific access to care, and then aging and vulnerable population. And so the services that continue to be built continue to meet those areas that we keep hearing. And so that's what's exciting to us, that we see that this is this theme that is now being met. And I'm excited to see how that impacts health for many, many years. On that next slide, we did a minority health specific assessment. Actually, last year we had over 600 surveys that were specific to minorities. And one of the areas was equitable access to healthcare, and cost and transportation were specifically cited in that. And so again, it's just a resounding theme that transportation has been an issue, and we love seeing the expansion and all that's been doing. And I know many of us sit in meetings with Johnny, but there is not a time that she is not just advocating as hard as she can for transportation, and that's in many wheels. So on that next slide, actually through Activate Alliance, she's very active in this group. And we have several things that we're doing in terms of active living and transportation, but this one is specific to a bike share program. And so she had her employees have painted and worked on different bikes. And I know Larry Bollinger's here. He's been very active in that committee, several different people that have been instrumental, but it's not just buses and wheels, it's actually self-propelled ones too. So that's been really a delight to work with Panhandle Open Trails and Johnny in that endeavor. So we are grateful that you're continuing to fill a critical public health need in a rural area. And again, just excited to see how that impacts public health for the decades to come. Thanks, Johnny and team.
And we do have the Panhandle Public Health District, their annual report. If anybody's interested, we have some up here. Please feel free to grab one after our presentations. Next, I would like to invite Deb Cartier from Dallas County Economic Development, and as a representative of the Heartland Expressway. Know what the secret is to this microphone. I gotta tell you, the first time I met Johnny was at a meeting in Shatter, and we have a group called the Dallas County Joint Planning Committee. And it's been in existence for probably 25, 30 years. And the first time I heard her come to that organization and talk about expanding transportation, I thought to myself, okay, who's going to ride a bus from Shatter to Alliance or vice versa? And how are we going to support this large regional transportation thing? And then I thought back to the days when we started the public health districts and all of those things. Dallas County was a member, and the Panhandle in general was a statewide leader in working together and creating bottom one, regional vitality. And you can't do that unless people can get around. And so I really do applaud what you do. Over the course of 40 some years that I've been working in the Panhandle, I figured it out one day. I've driven pretty close to 500,000 miles. That's a lot of road time, a lot of windshield time. And in order to do that in Nebraska year round, you have to be pretty hardy stock. And so I really do appreciate the long-term effort that it takes to pull something like this together. The Heartland Expressway, as I hope you all know, is a route from I-80 south of Kimball through the Panhandle and hooks up with a 4-lane highway in South Dakota.
We spend a lot of time and effort advocating for that so that her drivers and our riders and all the people who travel the Panhandle have felt a safe, efficient mode of transportation to get around. Because we all just accept that we're 60 miles from the closest BQ, or you have to drive to Rapid City in order to get decent seafood. And some of those kinds of things that people just, they think we're kidding. But that is in fact what we do. So the Heartland Expressway group most recently was in Washington, DC, lobbying on behalf of all of you. And on the plane, there's Johnny. And I said, are you going to DC? And she goes, yeah. I said, for transportation stuff? She goes, yeah. I said, well, you should come over to the Capitol. We're going to be there as well. You can come sit in on a couple of our meetings. So she broke away from her group and came with us and sat and visited with Congressman Smith. And so we're so appreciative. She even finds time for another group when she's off doing her transit official stuff when she's in Washington. So appreciate the invitation to be here and all the work. You don't understand how much of this, how much there is in the background of all of this until you know someone that obviously most of you know Johnny better than you. I just understand what it takes to work in a regional capacity, and understanding that and really having that at your heart is really what makes it work. So thank you.
Thank you, Deb. You know, as Deb was alluding to, it is all about collaboration and working with individuals and building those partnerships. And so next I would really like to invite Mara Anderson to come up here. She was with the Alliance City Council. Say a few words, let us know what's going on with the city and just all the support that we appreciate from the city of Alliance as well.
Thank you, Johnny. Did I figure out the microphone? Okay, maybe I did. Okay. Well, thank you, Johnny, for the opportunity to be here. I'm always impressed, but I'm never surprised at just the way that our rural communities really come together and help each other out. You know, like many have said, it's not just a ride, it's connecting people. And anytime you see the bus going down the road, it's a whole person, it's a whole life and a whole story. And so thank you for the work that you do, Johnny. I've had the pleasure of knowing Johnny for a while. I think she came into the rec center and wanted to know about pool. So still working on that.
Need a pool.
Yeah. So, you know, you really do have a heart for the work that you do, Johnny, and it's very clear in any capacity that I see you out and about, Activate Alliance, that the heart that you bring is just really admirable. So thank you for the work that you do. You know, our residents in Alliance benefit from local demand services provided through Alliance Public Transit and the remote and rural and intercity bus services that Open Plains Transit provides. Getting that name down. And what Johnny pointed out to me was that most rural communities don't have access to all three types of service. And so I'm never surprised, but I'm always impressed at the way that we seem to just solve our problems out here, right? We overcome our obstacles. So combined, these services do help drive economic development. They improve community health and can contribute to a more positive quality of life for all of us out here. Access to medical service, appointments, like Jordan pointed out, education, social services, recreation, and all the other types of activities. You know, people really rely on the work that you do. So thank you for that. At the ARC, we see a lot of people utilizing public transit, whether that's joining a fitness class or coming out to one individual in particular. He's gaining increased independence by being able to come out to the ARC. So we appreciate that. And I remember calling Johnny in 2020 and saying, Johnny, would you come get some of our camp kids and would you take them on a field trip? And of course, I didn't just get Johnny to show up. We got the whole crew to show up. You took them all out there. And to date, it's one of my most favorite field trips that the kids got to go on. So they went out to the Alliance Municipal Airport and they got to meet Denver Air Connect pilots out on the tarmac, thanks to the work that Johnny and the whole team at Open Plains Transit did. So it's not just connecting people, it's impacting lives. And I'm sure that those kids like me will remember that experience for a good while. So in closing, public transit, whether it's that local demand, remote, rural, and intercity service, it's a critical component to the success of our community. So thank you again for the work that you do. And thank you to each team member too, who's here today. It's an honor to come celebrate the work that you do. So thank you.
Okay, page 98, and we are here. We say best for last. We're lucky to have Bill Bibbins here today. Bill is our Nebraska Department of Transportation statewide mobility manager. He's in our front row. Bill has been working with transit agencies for about 10 years, and he's seen Johnny from 10 years ago or however many years ago. Bill, do you get to tell a story and tell us how you get to make a difference with your mobility management? No pressure.
Yeah, no pressure. I'm gonna try. I don't know about stories, but I'm gonna try to give just a brief history before I start heaping tons of praise, which I promise is coming. But we started this mobility management project, I mean, probably in the 70s, you know, through hiring consultants and looking at the state, and we knew we had needs, we knew we had gaps. And then throw on top of that, we know we had this baby boomer generation that's aging, and we knew we had kind of this aging time bomb that was gonna go off, and we're in the midst of that right now. So you have a high number of elderly people who can no longer drive, and they still need to get places. They still need to, you know, live in their homes, spend money in their communities, and transportation is a huge piece of that. And of course, the other things, you know, that are important is, I mean, this is public transportation. This is for everyone, not just the elderly, but, you know, we really saw that as a need for many years. And then I don't know what it is about the panhandle, if it's something in the water or if it's the distances you travel, but there is sort of a built-in sort of we'll figure out a way to get it done kind of mentality with people here, which has been really great. You know, the Department of Transportation, I work for the Center for Public Affairs Research. You know, we have consultants with Olson working on this, but I'm not so sure that even without us, the Panhandle would have figured this out on their own. So we have tried to assist. We have tried to be helpful. Hopefully we have been. But we knew, you know, we had some wide swaths of area that were not covered by any sort of public transportation, and we knew we had people in need. So Johnny's leadership in this, the community's ability to rally behind her, just people with the kind of get her done attitude. I mean, that has been so important, and just we look forward to many more years. The effects are going to just they're just going to keep coming. The benefits that the communities are going to reap, the money, like for every dollar you spend on transit, you get that money back through people paying taxes, people shopping at your stores, people working in your communities. So just thank you so much, Johnny, for your leadership on this, for everyone who supported her. And yes, way to go, Panhandle.
That is the best. Way to go, Panhandle. Yeah, happy dance. You know, that is great. So in closing, we're not quite finished. As you guys noticed, we have a couple of buses strategically parked outside. We do have an official ribbon cutting where all of this crowd that supported it for many years, we would love for you to go out. Katie from our team is in the back and she'll route you over to the bus on that side. We'll do one big picture and a countdown. We have sandwiches and iced tea and cookies back there. Please come in, ask us questions. We have lots of materials. There's bags here for you to take those. But most important, thank you for coming today. You took an hour out of your day to recognize public transportation in this panhandle and this amazing success of Open Plains Transit. I can't miss it. And Bill will steal your line. Way to go, panhandle. Yeah, that's good. But thank you guys again. Start heading to the door. Katie, would you give us a wave? Katie's leading the crowd over there. Yeah, so everybody follow Katie outside. Yes, sir.
I'm Pastor Don Mink from the Indian Missions Church. I got a call yesterday morning from a Native American who's been working in Omaha. He's in his 60s, he's disabled, he got on disability, and he said, I need to come home as soon as possible. I made arrangements with you guys yesterday morning. At 3 o'clock this afternoon, he was at Alliance, Nebraska.
That is amazing. That's why we're here. What a story, you guys. That's why we do what we do. That is the story of the day. Anybody else? I don't know that we can top that story. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Yeah. Well, follow Katie. You see she has ribbon in hand. So head out the door, but come back in after the picture.
Thank you for letting me tell it.
That's an amazing story.
Wow.
No.